I mean, there are a lot of different ways to use it besides just the professional sides of broadcasting, but it's also, you can tell from the ways these are put together that they're military applications and government applications, but everything is about the two-way broadcast. It's the need to communicate from a remote place where there may or may not be a cell signal or even electricity or cable, certainly installation. So you have these are ways that you can communicate many types of data, small data or large data, pictures or just data. So, but it's very useful. Recovery is a big disaster. Emergency medical services, law enforcement, forest service uses them. When there's a forest fire. We have insurance companies that set up when there is a major disaster. They'll go and set up a mobile field office where they can process claims. We know of some drugstores that have they put these on big vans. They put them on vans that have the ability to put out a desk and to process data and information, so that they can process insurance claims. They can process, like Walgreens has some on their mobile units where they're able to process prescriptions and any services that people need that they don't have because they're no longer able to get out or because there's no electricity. You can do phone lines on these antennas, certainly certain sizes of them. So there's a lot of commercial applications, a lot of things to do to process information.
Can you tell us a bit more about its usage with remote areas, like rural applications maybe?
Well, distance learning is one of them. The first VSATs many years ago were used on when internet wasn't so available to people in their homes. Libraries. We put our first mobile VSATs on bookmobiles. So the library, this big library van would go into a remote area that didn't have a library, and make it possible for people to use the internet in these remote, from the bookmobile. Emergency medical services, especially in terms of where a paramedic or a PA, for instance, might be able to go provide services in a community where there's no clinic. They can drive a van in, process the data, do what it's sort of the mobile version that the drugstores now are using called walk-in. It's walk-in clinic. Well, it's the same sort of thing. People, medical personnel can do certain things without a doctor's supervision if they have that kind of ranking. But then other times they need to be able to be in contact with a physician in case something more serious is developed. Then they can, and that's what this allows them to do. It allows processing and transferring large medical files. People use this kind of technology for not so much mobile, but sometimes mobile, for imaging. For doing imaging services where they need to transfer files immediately, where it used to be that files had to be downloaded and put on a disk and sent. They can now do this directly. So there's I think an endless amount of possibilities for remote communications.
Do you want to tell us about the advantages compared to other wireless connection modes?
Well, the main advantage over anything else is the ability to do it remotely. There's ground services are always going to be cheaper. I mean, because satellite service is expensive compared to if you're going to be in the same place all the time. Then you always using a cable or using an electrical service or even using cell phone service is probably financially more. Is financially more efficient. But from a remote communication where you have no other options, these are the places where this kind of service is very much an advantage.
So the cost now is kind of expensive.
Well, the cost to buy space on a satellite is expensive for commercial consumers. The more demand there is, the more that cost will come down. It has already come down some. It gets pretty technical about how you actually buy segments of time on a satellite, because you have to buy segments of time to transmit and segments of time to receive. So it's not nearly as cost efficient as other ways. Again, the problem is, as long as if you're in some place where there is not this ground service infrastructure already in place, go someplace where there's no cell service and you'll see what that's like. So it works out very well for remote places and temporary places where you're not